Welcome! My name is Jezebel, and today's instructional video is how to mix your HCG. First of all, let's dispel the myths about how to mix it. I put together a formula based on scientific research of measurements, and it goes like this. Excuse me while I read. How to mix 5,000 amps of HCG. First of all, mLs and cc's are exactly the same thing. So to end that confusion right there. And diabetic syringes are in units. If you want to do 30 units, that's 0.3 mLs on a syringe. 0.3 mLs, 0.3 cc's are the exact same amount as 30 units on a diabetic needle. Now, let's talk about strength. I have in my hand a 5,000 IU bottle of HCG. And you see the little white wafer, the powder in the bottom? It comes with sodium chloride. You don't want to mix with this. Go ahead and put this in the trash. Just pretend like it didn't exist. I like to save this little container for me to dispel any extra bacteriostatic water that I don't need. Why do I do that? Because I don't like to use an extra mixing bottle. So first of all, we want to start off with gloving up. Now, you're going, well, how much should I use? There's basically three basic measurements that you can use. 125 IU, which you would mix that with 12 mLs of bacteriostatic water, which that will give you 0.3 mLs or cc's for an injection, or 30 units on your insulin syringe. Now, if you find that you have hunger pains and that 125 IU is not working for you, then the next time you mix your mix, you may want to step it up to the 150 IU. Now, the 150 IU gets mixed with 10 mLs of bacteriostatic water, and that gives you 0.3 mLs or cc's, or 30 units on the insulin syringe for your injection. Now, if you still find you're hungry and that's not working for you, then you can step it up to 175 IU dosage, which is 8.5 mLs of bacteriostatic water mixed in with your HCG for a 0.3 mLcc, or a 30 unit insulin syringe dosage. So there you have it. You have 125, 150, 175 IUs, and this is your daily injection. You're still just going to take 30 units on the insulin syringe. It's all on how you mix the water. The bacteriostatic water is the key. So let's get busy. I've gloved up. I'm going to take off my safety valve and dispose of it in my little container here. And I'm going to take my HCG and take this off. Sometimes it's easier than it looks. And then I have a sterile syringe. Do not reuse your syringes. Use a new one every time you mix. Now, I just happen to have a BD 3ml 25 gauge 1.5 inch. Why do I have this size? Because I do B12 intramuscular. And to do IM, you have to have this long needle. Don't be confused with doing IM with one of these. Let me show you the difference. Itty bitty needle, big needle. This goes into your muscle. This is subcutaneous. There is a difference. If you want the most out of your B12 injections, you will do them IM. If you're doing HCG, you would want to do them into your fatty tissue with an insulin needle. I'm going to recap that for sterilization. Never set a needle down without a cap. So, we now have that trashed. This is what my brand looks like. This is a brand from India, and it's from SAMARTH Labs, and it is 5,000 units, and it comes in one vial. And this is the vial. You see, I took off the seal off the top, and you see it is powder on the bottom, almost like a wafer, so to speak. Now here is my trick. I don't like having to transfer to separate vials. I figure the less transfers you have, the less chance of cross-contamination you have. Also, I don't recommend you save the bacteriostatic water. I'm sure it's fine, but I rather err on the side of caution than on the other side, which is a staph infection. So be really careful. Now I am going to use BD alcohol swabs. I just prefer BD because it seems to be a little thicker, and dispose of that. And I'm going to clean off the bacteriostatic water top, and I'm going to clean off my HCG top. And while I'm at it, so I don't forget, B12, I'm going to clean that top off. This is just precaution to make sure everything's hunky-dory when you start. Now, this is a 30 ml bottle of bacteriostatic water. And I don't need all 30 mLs. And quite frankly, this stuff is so reasonable. I get 3 bottles at a time for $9.99, so it's like $3.33 a bottle. I don't mind wasting it. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to need 1 ml to mix in to make my solution. And then I'm going to need 9 mLs because I'm going to do a total of 10 mLs of bacteriostatic water. So what I'm going to do is I am going to waste, and by wasting, that means removing what I don't need out of this bottle first. It's just easier like that. So you pressurize and pull. Okay, so I'm wasting, and this is why I keep this little container, guys. I'm wasting 3. It always helps if you pressurize the bottle. Push air in, pull liquid out. Okay. That will be 6. And then we're putting air back in. Nine. Okay, so I now have 21 of these lovelies still in here. Now, I'm going to cheat. By cheat, it's not a bad cheat. I just don't like mixing this up all the time. So, I'm going to mix 2, remember to cap it, never set a needle down. Two vials of HCG at a time. Dispose of that, we don't need it. Remove the cap. Now, you're going to mix this with 1 unit and this is the important part. When you're inserting this, go down the side of the vial. You do not want to create bubbles. Bubbles are bad. So just slowly push. And you don't want to shake, you want to swirl. And you're going to swirl until it's clear. And you don't see any more white. It'll look like this. So, I'm going to go back to my batrostatic water and pull out 1. I'm going to go to the next vial. Inject. Swirl. And cover my syringe, because you never want to set a syringe down that's not covered. And swirl. Now I have 2 vials of HCG that have been mixed, and now I'm going to pull them out and put them back into my batrostatic water. I now have 2 doses, 2 vials ready to rock and roll and use. Now this is important. Once you mix this up, refrigerate it. It needs to be refrigerated. If you don't refrigerate it, it will go bad. It's okay if you have to transport it like on a trip and you need to, take it for a short time. But if you're going to be gone for a long period of time, you need to have some type of way to refrigerate. Now, what I'm going to do is take the same needle that I capped and insert it into the HCG. Now the trick to these little bitty vials, and I learned this from doing B12 out of a small vial, is you just barely want to put your needle in there, pull it back out till it's on the very edge. And also if you do it at an angle, you'll be able to get all of the goodies out of the bottle. And believe me, you want to get all your goodies out of the bottle. It helps if you pressurize the bottle first. Silly me. Let's put some air in there. Push the air in. Pull the goodies out. Voila! Every single drop. Okay, that is now empty. I'm going to come over here to the batrostatic water. Swoosh. You know, if you can't have fun while you're mixing your HCG, well then I don't know what you can have fun. I mean, you get to play chemist here. Medical play is always fun. Okay, So I've put my needle in again, and I'm pulling it all the way to the edge, taking it at an angle, pulling out all of my goodies. What I really like about this brand of HCG, I don't know if you can see it or not, but in this stopper, it has a needle protect right here, so you can't bend your needles. It has a little rubber stopper on the inside that goes all the way into the vial. That's a cool effect. I have seen the small vials without those in it, and you can do all kinds of bending of the needles. So, putting this in. Okay, now that our mixing needle is over with, twist towards it to make sure the cap's on, twist away from you. Needle is in the safety zone, syringe is in the safety zone. Then take your sharps container and drop. If you don't have a sharps container, I highly recommend that you buy one. You can get them at Walmart. They're super reasonable. When they're done, you just cap them off and take them to the local emergency room, and they'll dispose of the needles for you. Speaking of products, I highly recommend the BD alcohol swabs. They come in a nice heavy-duty foil pack, and they tend not to dry out like other brands. And you can buy this at Walmart. It's going to cost you, I think this box cost me $2.97. BD brand. Really good. And as far as syringes, I prefer the Rely On insulin syringes. Now this is a 310 ml. That means 3/10 of an ml, or 30 units. It's a 30 gauge needle, and it's 8 millimeter in length. It's a short needle. And what I really like about this needle is you get 100 of them at Walmart for $12.99. And this is what it looks like on the inside. They're little individually packs in tin, so you don't have to worry about cross-contaminating your needles. But what I really like about this is the super fine tip it has, and then this is just protecting the stopper, and this is a super fine tip, and it's really easy to give your HCG with these. Okay, so I now have 20 mLs sitting in this bottle, and it is I'm going to be using 30 units a day, which is 0.3 mLs a day. So I have my first round of shots all in one bottle ready to go. Now, there's a controversy about pre-filling your syringes. Quite frankly, I don't find it hard to go to the refrigerator, fill up a syringe, and inject myself. It's super easy, it's super fast, and you really don't have to pre-fill. But if you're a forgetful person, you can pre-fill. Just remember, on this syringe type, you're filling to the 30, which means your stopper's going to be all the way out here. You run the risk of hitting that stopper and expelling your HCG everywhere, which is not a good thing. But some people do pre-fill. If you want to pre-fill, do not pre-fill more than 7 days at a time. Make sure that this end won't go back on, but this end will, to protect your needle. Make sure that it goes back on, and make sure that you put it in a plastic baggie. Now, I do not recommend pre-filling B12, simply for the fact that it's very light sensitive. It likes to stay in its little brown bottle, and you lose the potency when you pre-fill into something that's clear. So on the B12, I would highly recommend that you drop your dose daily. Now, I have a separate video on how to take a painless B12 shot, so check my videos. I take 25 on a daily basis. Although twice a week I take full 2 mLs. Oh, I disposed of my thing because of other health reasons. So 25 on your insulin syringe is the unit you want to use. But insulin syringes are not the best delivery method unless you're going to do it right into the muscle right here on your arm. Anyway, let me show you how to give a shot. For purposes, I'm going to do it in my arm because I don't like showing my girly parts on YouTube. So we're going to clean, and if in doubt, swirl again. Clean, and then the opposite side, I come over here and just put that little alcohol pad there. It marks the place. X marks the spot on where you've cleaned. Take it off. Pressurize it. Put it in. Pull it out. It comes right up to the 3-0. Make sure your air bubbles are out. And then X marks the spot, right? Stick it in. And I find the slower you go, the less it hurts. Remove, recap, drop, take your swab, go back over, and another little trick, just jiggle it, let it work in. Now, the ideal place to take your injections, look, no muss, no fuss, no blood. The ideal place to take your injections is subcutaneously in your tummy. When you do that, I'll demonstrate on my arm. Yes, I have chicken flaps. Pinch it, poke it. Doesn't hurt. Oh, well, I hope that you found that this HCG instructional video on how to mix was helpful. And I'm going to pan over to my notes so that you can see exactly the mixtures and amount of time, mixtures and amounts that I was talking to you about. So, here we go. And then what that says is how to mix 5,000 IU amps of HCG. mLs and cc's are the same. Units of insulin measurements, 30 units equals 0.3 mLs or cc's. Daily doses, if you're doing 125 units, you need 12 mLs of batrostatic water, and that's going to give you 30 units of injection. If you're wanting to do 150 IUs, you need to mix it with 10 mLs of batrostatic water, and that gives you 30 units injection. And if you're wanting to do 175 IUs, you need to mix it with 8.5 mLs of batrostatic water, and that gives you 30 units. And I cannot stress this enough. Remember, it's always easier to add batrostatic water, but you cannot remove it. Most people start on the 150 IU daily dose. Adjust it if they need to adjust it. And most importantly, if in doubt, you can start off on the 125 units, and if you find that you're hungry, Then the next time you mix a vial, you can go to the 150 units. And if you still find you're hungry, then go up to the 175. I do really well on the 150 units. And thank you for watching my HCG video, and I hope that this information was helpful. This is Jezebel signing off.